So today I'm going to make Safari Rusks. Everybody's had them that has been on safari with me. This is how to do it. It's a labor intensive 2-day work, but here we go. First, bran flakes. Okay, we need 5 cups of bran flakes. The bran flakes, we've got to crush them down to about half the size. So I just use this cup. This is a metric cup, which is 250 milliliters. We put 5 cups of bran flakes in there, and then if you make them too big, the rusks don't stay together. Once you dry them out, they break. So we're nearly ready. That's about right now. That's about right. That's about the right kind of coarseness. Okay. To this rusk mixture, we're going to add caramel sugar. It's upside down, but anyway. And we need 2 cups of caramel sugar. So that each cup over here that I'm using is 250 milliliters. And 2. Okay, that's 2 cups of caramel sugar, and we're just going to mix them into the cornflakes. If you have a look at that, it all looks very nice, grainy. It's like playing in a sandpit. So we've got caramel sugar, we've got 2 cups of that, we've got 5 cups of all bran flakes, which we've smashed down to about half their size, and we're now going to add a 1 whole kilogram of sifted self-raising wheat flour. The only reason I'm sifting it is basically because I just want to make sure there's nobody got in there before me. It's quite important when you get to halfway, you can just add a teaspoon of baking powder, or whatever you guys call it, baking soda. So about a heaped teaspoon, that'll do. There we go. And what we'll do with this now is we'll just mix it all together so that it looks like the actual Safari Rusk mixture that we need. Okay, so into this mixture, which has now got the bran flakes, the brown sugar, the flour, the little bit of baking soda, you're going to put 1/3 of a cup of seedless raisins. 1/3 of the cup is 83 milliliters, for anyone who doesn't know. Scatter them around and carry on mixing so that they're all nicely into this mixture. And this concludes the dry mix of the Safari Rusks. So we've got yellow margarine. It's 500 grams. 500 grams is half a kilogram. We're going to put this into a glass bowl and stick it in the microwave just to melt it. And this is the beginning of the wet mixture. Okay, on my microwave I've actually got a little handy helper here that says melt butter. And the start, there you go, look at that. Now, the dry mixture, just make a little funnel in the middle, because this is going to help when you mix it all together later. Okay, just very quickly, the margarine that we use is baking margarine. It's full fat margarine. Don't use butter, because butter is going to make the rusks too sticky. Okay, so while the margarine in the microwave is just melting, I'm going to just quickly check 2 eggs here. We need 2 eggs, okay. I'm not joking, you've got to check if they're nice before you put them in your dish. So these are fine, and I'll just kind of half beat them up quickly, just so that they can be added to the butter and the buttermilk, which is also half a liter, 500 milliliters of cultured buttermilk. Okay, right. So one of the things is, once the butter comes out of the microwave and it's nicely melted, let it cool down, because you're going to be adding this cultured milk, this buttermilk, and you're going to be that's 500 milliliters, and you're going to add 2 eggs to the mixture. So you don't want to do that with hot margarine. And I'm going to just stick the cultured milk in here. There we go, all nice and cultured. And the 2 eggs, they can go in as well. You're going to start to see them combining in here or how, and we're going to get this like little, there we go. Can you start seeing that we're loosening up the buttermilk, and the eggs are all getting nicely combined with the melted margarine, and we're going to keep doing that till it changes color. And you'll notice that the cultured buttermilk hasn't curdled here because the margarine was not hot. If it's hot, then you're going to get a very different look and feel to this, and it's going to all be very difficult to combine. So once that's all nicely combined, as it is right now, there we go. We're going to pour it into our dry mixture. If you just Safari Rusks, okay? So we're going to pour that in to the dry mixture, and this is just going to save my hands until I really have to knead the dough. But quite frankly, I use a wooden spoon just to start mixing this into some kind of, otherwise you get flour and rubbish all over your hands too early. A safari baker's trick. Okay, she's I can already. Alright, so we're going to mix this until it's kind of done a little bit. There we go, like stirring a, I'm not too sure whether I'm making a Safari Rusks or another Facts and Feces calendar here. Okay, so now we've got a reasonable bit of dough here, and at the moment this is just like making a doughy mixture. Okay, and we're going to just kind of knead it together and make sure we use all the flour. And once we do that, and now the big thing is, if you want these things to be, if you want this to rise nicely and you want the consistency there, you have to actually spend a bit of time. There's no shortcuts here. And I like to do this by hand, not with a machine, because if you do it with a machine you can overdo it. Those machines, I don't know, unless you're really used to your machine. But anyway, you know, when you go, these are handmade rusks, then that's what you want. And the Safari Rusks, the whole reason they're so enjoyable is because there's a lot of time spent getting these consistencies correct. It's like watching animals. You know, you don't feel like you're watching an animal if you just stop quickly to look at it and then move on. So I've done this now, I've kneaded it nicely. I've just lightly floured a bowl that I'm going to put this dough into so that I can just let it rest overnight. There we go. I'm going to let this rest overnight in the fridge. Okay, so I've taken it out. It's been in the fridge overnight, and you can see now it's easier. It's going to be easier to handle. There's not as much wetness to it, and it's risen slightly. This is what we need to do. Okay, so there we go. Now from one of these batches of rusks, I am going to get 90 rusks. First thing I do is cut it in half so that I can sort of manage, because I can't see 90 rusks out of here. I can see 45 out of each half, and then that way it becomes easier for me to work. So you can see there now we've got 45 out of the first half, and that worked kind of perfectly. Alright, so I'm now ready to actually roll the soldiers, the rusks, and I've now got 90 balls here, which is great. It worked out for one batch. The bread tin is very important, the baking tin. It needs to be deep enough to get these balls. So if you have a look now, if I take a ball, and obviously what we're going to try and do in this tin, particularly 45 will go in. I'm rolling each individual soldier. There they are, working perfectly. Everything's very nice. Look what a raisin would do if it goes in the middle. So what I'll do with this one is just fold it in and re-roll it. Right, there's one batch of us. They're going to go into an oven, 135, 140 for an hour and a half. So I'm just going to put that timer on for 20 minutes. There we go, 130, bang. Okay, so this is now been on for an hour and a half, perfectly baked. Alright, they should come out pretty easy because of the butter. The margarine that we put on the sides. Let's see, there's the other one, all 90 little soldiers. This one's a little bit nasty, there we go, perfectly. And these are going to now cool down and rest until they're cold. We'll break the soldiers up and start drying them out in the in the oven. Good. Okay, so I've just turned these rusks now. They're now starting to look like what we eat on safari, and I'm basically just using the oven now at a very low temperature. Over here it's 100 degrees centigrade, just to dry them out, and that's basically what we do. Just dry them out. That's hot enough.